I could fake the moon landing at my apartment at this point.
Welcome to Spinsters, a podcast where we are donating to the Kentucky Health Justice Network, and we will be putting a link in our description and on Twitter. And we hope everyone is doing okay. Today we have Josh Gondelman, who has a brand new special. It is hilarious. If you want to laugh, which I hope you do, you should listen to it. We enjoyed talking to him. He's very funny. It lifted all of our moods. And also, I want to shout out this guy who, now that I'm saying this, I wish I had more information. Basically, my friend Jacob told me that he went to pick up some furniture from OfferUp from this guy who recognized that he had an Indiana area code. And somehow they got to talking, and I'm kind of blurry on the story now. But basically, the guy said he's a fan of the show. So if you are that guy, thank you. Shout out to you. Yeah. That was a nice story.
And shout out, we found the person that shouted out Peter on the street in New York at Clay Films. She tweeted at us. She said, "Hey, I'm the jogger who saw a bearded man rocking a Spencer's hat on Eastern Parkway. And for the record, I shouted, 'I love Spinsters.'" Wow. Glad he wasn't freaked out.
Wow.
Great pod, y'all.
Wow. Bearded man.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
After the break, our very good friend, huge Spencer's reporter, and overall very funny and positive person, Josh Gondelman. Well, before we do anything basketball related, I want to talk about people pleaser. I think you just talked about it with Harry, but will you talk about it again?
Of course, yeah. So my new hour stand-up special is available all the VOD platforms you can rent and purchase stuff, like Apple TV and YouTube and Amazon, and there's another big one that I'm forgetting, but it's all over Vimeo, all over the place. And I'm really psyched about it. I'm really excited. I shot it like a year ago, so it's been a lot of editing and working on the artwork with the designer and stuff. And then it was truly just like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. And now it's out in the world, which is lovely.
It's extremely hilarious. I love your specific type of comedy too. It feels extremely authentic to yourself, but also that makes it unique because you're unique. What about the name?
So, okay. So I did shoehorn the phrase people pleaser into a bit because I feel like this is my first special that's video recorded. I've had albums before, but I felt like this is going to reach people that don't know who I am, and I kind of want them to get a sense of my vibe from like the photo that they use and the title of it, because I really kind of wanted to call it Triggered Much, but I worried that it would only appeal to people who would hate me and would turn off anyone that doesn't know me but would like the special. So there were a couple other titles. Friendship Nightmare, I think, was in the running, but People Pleaser is what it ended up with, which is so funny because a few people have kind of snarkily pointed out, which I didn't realize at the time, Daniel Tosh has a special called People Pleaser, but it's so funny because it's so arch with him because he's so combative with the audience, and mine is just truly like, hey everybody, let's have a good time.
And I feel like that went with you said you had no expectations when you put it out, but yeah. You got a good response so far because it's so funny.
Thank you. People have been so nice. I got a nice little review from Sean McCarthy and Decider, and like I've gotten to come and talk to you all about it, and I've gotten some like real fun opportunity, and like people that I had no expectation would watch it have been shouting out like, "Oh, I watched this. It's great." And I really tried to. I've been doing stand up for like an embarrassingly long time, and so I've tried to just like obliterate the expectation that like anyone will see any specific thing. Anything I do specifically will like change any circumstances of my career. I just try to get really into like, I want this to be good, and then the people who see it will like it, and that's good enough for me. And so like the fact that this has made just like a little splash that's more than I had expected has just been so thrilling to me and so exciting.
You saying comedy albums makes me think about the ones that we used to listen to when we were driving, like doing long road trips or something.
What did you listen to?
Mitch Hedberg.
Us too. Because that's
I was gonna ask what yours was.
That was like specifically Mitch. My dad, like I I think within my family, I was going to say I discovered Mitch, but it's like, well, I was 11 years old or whatever, 15 years old. But I like within my family was like, oh, you got to listen to this guy. He's the funniest guy alive. And my dad and my sister, and to a lesser extent, I think my mom, like, were like, oh, we'll listen to these albums. But before that, when I was young, it was we would listen to, I don't know, this might be just like my age, but Adam Sandler's comedy albums that were like so dirty. So we would see like, you know, from the movies, Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, and watching him on SNL, and the Hanukkah song, which, like, of course, Jewish parents in New England were like, yeah, this is, you can have this. This is your anthem. But then you listen to the sketch albums and they're so dirty. And so one by one, all my friends that had bought copies, parents would hear them just like playing in the other room and be like, we have to confiscate this, break it in half, and then like mail it to a synagogue for them to bury. Like, that's how dirty it is.
I have absolutely never heard those.
I can't even say if they're good or bad at this point because it's part of my childhood. Like, it's like being like, is your grandpa a good or bad person? I'm like, I think good, but he's my grandpa. And that's like what these Adam Sandler albums felt like. It was just like, oh, this, when I was like 11, I was like, this is what is funny. It's just like him pretending to be a talking goat who's tied to a pickup truck, just like cursing at the old man that tied him there. And it's like, I don't know, is that good or is it just my childhood?
I feel like he's still the same. That's the same type of
true.
comedy.
Yeah, you're right.
He's
still in the goat zone.
Yeah.
He's the goatest of all time.
I think this is like the 6th episode in a row that we've mentioned Adam Sandler, either through Hustle or just other
record.
That is.
Come on the pod.
Yeah, Adam Sandler, come on the pod. I feel like
Spencer's.
I almost said, because I just saw him do like one of the big ones, but I almost like the 10-year running podcast, and I almost was like, I don't know that he would even know what a podcast is. He doesn't have to.
That's a good point. I don't know if I've ever seen him on one. But
There's
we
a
could
lot
be
of
the
things
first.
I don't think rich people probably know about.
Someone told me recently about an A-list television actor who like a few years ago was booked to do like a major podcast, and their staff had to be like, okay, here's what a podcast is. It's like a radio show that you download, and they're like, okay, I get it. But like, this was probably 2013. So like, years into general awareness of podcasts being fairly high. And it's not like it was Carl Reiner, age 90 having to learn. It was like someone probably in their late 40s, early 50s at the time.
Can we do 5 questions to see if we can get that person? Yes or no?
I don't want to blow up whoever's spot it is. Because I truly forget whether this is a story that I can like burn for someone or whether they're like, I lost my job. Thank you very much.
Fair. That's a gray area. We won't go there.
Fair enough. I do feel like that's a good transition though to something I've been wanting to talk about, which is Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner broke up. And Sierra and I, when we discovered this news, both had the same thought that we'd been recently wondering like what they talk about. So I was thinking we could do a 30-second like rapid fire brainstorm of things we think that they talk about.
Sure.
Okay, hang on a second.
I think they just stared at each other, but if they did have to speak.
Okay, ready?
What they talk about?
I'll go first. Ready, set, go. IBS. I think statistically one of them has it.
I feel like Devin Booker's in Sweet Green commercials, so they probably talk about salad sometimes.
Yes, they definitely talk about salads. They talk about dogs. He loves his dog.
Okay, dogs, maybe animals. They share animal TikToks or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I was thinking about her acne campaign. Remember when she was like, so maybe acne products.
I feel like the topic of Coachella has come up at least once, like music festivals with electronic influenced music being performed.
I think they talk about how they mutually don't like Kim, because that's my theory that they all just don't like Kim, so they just talk about how much they don't like her.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Josh.
Private jet amenities.
On Devin Booker's Architectural Digest, he uses the words like vibes a lot and like open space and energy and stuff. So I think they might talk about vibes.
And Sierra says diet soda. I think that works.
But not
I would
diet
say
soda and the community relations that diet soda can provide. Yeah.
I feel like that's where the healing began, and now everything's cool.
Yeah.
I think like in the vibes, like energy type of thing. Like, do you guys remember that commercial? I think it was an Adidas commercial, and everyone was sitting around a table, and like Pharrell was there, and like some famous soccer player was there, and the entire thing was about like we're creators, and the whole conversation of the commercial was like we're just creating, like we're doing content, we're all, and it really was a conversation about absolutely nothing. That is what I feel like every single one of their conversations had to be.
Not to be stereotypical, but I feel like she's done his birth chart when the zodiac is sign.
I don't really know that she knows that much
Oh, interesting.
about anything.
Okay.
I know that's my one thing is I would like to know her interest about anything. And I'm not saying that she's stupid. I'm just saying that when you're rich, you don't have to be interested in anything.
Right.
And I have yet to have any proof proving that otherwise, that she's interested in a single thing.
I would also say that the Kardashian family has done like a Kardashian Jenner family has done like a really strong job for years, up until like Kim decided criminal justice reform is like her passion, of being like of having like a studied neutrality. So like they can't like anything that anyone else would not like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
That's
can
what
only
I say boring. Yeah.
Yeah, except
they can only
Just
like
taking from
things
Black
that are
culture.
one-sided
Yeah.
issues. Right, taking from Black culture. That's right. That's
yeah,
a
they're
big
like,
interest.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But everything else.
Everything else, no.
Yeah.
We won't
Right.
pick a side.
Anyway, Devin Booker. Sorry, cat sitting. Were you in the bathroom the whole time? I bet all of my shit's on the floor. That's the thing I learned about cats. That is true. That I thought was maybe just in movies. Is that they will just go on the counter, give a full cup of water.
Just knock it over.
They just knock it over. And it's not even like they're like, oh, I'm going to shove this thing, push it slowly. They take their paw and they go blurp, and it is knocked to the ground and spilled everywhere. So I've gone through a roll of paper towels, I guess.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay. And again, found out I was allergic to them, but they're sweeties.
Yeah.
We went over the 30 seconds, but I do think that is way more things than I originally thought.
Yeah. That's a good list.
That they would talk about.
I feel like this is a very productive brainstorming session.
Yeah. I don't think anyone else has cracked the code. I bet even people close to them don't even know what
I bet they
talking
haven't
about.
cracked the code, and that's why they were like, should we just break up?
It's like, I haven't talked to you in years. Maybe this isn't working.
It's like, sorry to always be that guy, but the new season of Love Island has started, and some of them, it's like, I can tell from the outside, you guys have nothing to talk about. All you ever talk about is if you should have more talks. Not a good sign, just
Not a good sign.
That is the trouble sign for a relationship. Like the closer the intervals between we should really talk comes up, like the closer you are to the end of the relationship.
Yeah. Especially when it's not even about anything substantial. Like, we should just talk.
Yeah, more.
Period.
Yeah, yes.
There's like the scariest things are like, hey, we need to talk. Bad sign. Really bad sign. We should talk. Yeah. Probably just as bad a sign. It just isn't going to hurt as much.
We need to talk later is a rough one. It's just like, hey, just tell me the bad news now, because I'm not going to like it later either.
I'll drop that. I'm that person.
tough.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you did something for me to say that, I would like you to sweat.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I would like some perspiration.
That is fair.
I'd like you to take that mind of yours and rewind the past 2 months and think about if you've done any possible thing that would have offended me.
Get to stewing. Yeah.
And ruminate on that.
Yeah. You do it like interrogation procedure.
Yes. Well, my new thing is I'm trying to be in relationships where I don't feel the need to do those things.
Cool.
So it's actually been a huge step for me. But yeah.
Love that for you.
Growth.
TBD on how that's going to go.
Sure.
Should we talk about the Celtics? Should we talk about Kyrie?
I'm, both painful topics for me.
Yeah, I was like,
a native
"Ugh,
Bostonian.
Pick your poison."
We need to talk later, but I'm telling you the subject.
We need to talk later about Kyrie Irving. It's like, wow. What did he do? Let's do a quick. I know it's been done to death, but I want to do a quick appreciation for the Celtics season.
Yes,
I feel like
I don't think that's been done to death. That's why we wanted to talk to you about it, because you are
Celtics optimist.
I didn't want it to sound it's a wonderful thing how optimistic you are. Yeah. Because I was gonna say you're positive, but sometimes I think people don't associate that with being like legitimately positive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I think
right.
that a lot of times, especially now, it's like positive just for the sake of appearing so. But
posy vibes only, etc. Yeah.
Yes, but I think you actually are like quite optimistic. Which
Thank
is
you.
Good.
I feel. I think the way the finals ended with 3 straight losses that like weren't super close was like I think the downside of that was it was excruciating to watch and it was personally hurtful to me. But the upside of it is I got to watch it and be like, we lost to the team that deserved to win. This was not an issue of a coin flip or a bad break. And getting to the finals was so far ahead of where I thought this team was going to be from like Christmas 2021 to this point. If you were to be like, they're going to lose the finals to the Warriors in 6 games, I would be like, you're from the future, but you're lying to me. Like you're pretending you're from the future and you're full of shit. And then I would find that person and be like, tell me everything you knew. Yeah, I think like clearly Coach Ime Udoka has buy-in from the team. I think that the can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown ever be on the court at the same time as each other that people invented as a controversy has been settled. I think those are like super positive steps going forward. I think that like it's also you've got not to do the like Jason Tatum is he just learned to walk 6 months ago, but I mean he's like this was his first year as like okay you're the superstar, and I think he will get more poise in these difficult situations, bring down the turnovers. I think Jaylen Brown will do the same. So I think like the real weaknesses of the team are improvable, even internally, which I think like internal improvements like that are like a real way teams get better. And I like really appreciate this season. I had a lot of love for like the Rob Williams breakout season and the Marcus Smart point guard season and Ime Udoka, one of the rising young head coaches season and obviously Tatum and Brown, of course. And like the Horfordissance is like a beautiful thing to witness. Like, so I want to say like with no bitterness, just a deep emotional pain, but no bitterness, that it was like a truly exhilarating 6 months of basketball or 5.5 months of basketball up until the end of game 3 of the finals. and then I went into a blackout and I grew out my hair. You can see, I like spent a couple weeks on an island just pondering, but that's where I came out on the other side.
I love that. And I think Jason Tatum took a lot of heat. I know you mentioned that this was his first time as a superstar, but is the expectation now that you guys will be back in the finals next year, or are you still just taking it month by month if this year has taught you anything?
Great question. I think expectation of the finals is tough, especially given Milwaukee's injuries, given like the Brooklyn situation that we'll get to, Philly having another year to gel. I mean, Miami always being good. So like, I think going like this team goes to the finals every year is tough. And especially like things could go wrong for the Celtics in terms of like someone misses 15 games at the wrong time and it kind of tanks their seeding or it hurts them in the playoffs. So I don't think I expect the finals, but I do expect them to be like contending. Like second round of the playoffs is the floor for my heart, and then beyond that I think it's, unless you're like a dynastic team, it's always like a little luck has to come into play, unless that's where I'm at. Again,
Yeah.
but you know me as Jordan. We've known each other half an hour, and you know I'm the no expectations guy.
Yes. That's a great
Sorry.
brand. That is.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful brand.
Sorry to interrupt, Haley.
No, that's okay. Harry and I were talking yesterday about Harry, what's the term about like the Super Bowl team who loses?
Oh, like the Super Bowl hangover.
Oh, yeah. And that
Which
team
is
always just kind of like hits a spiral over the next
Right,
year.
it's a real thing. Like the team that loses the Super Bowl then has a down year the next year. And I think maybe expectations have to do with that. Maybe it's just that the year before we didn't look closely enough at the situations that propelled that team to the finals, which can be true across sports. And like you said, you can point it out with the Celtics this year, which doesn't delegitimize their run at all.
No.
They were fantastic. But like maybe Milwaukee is, adds a piece this offseason or is like healthy or, there's all these kinds of different things that could.
And they got to play that Nets dynasty without Ben Simmons, their perennial all-star. So like that, I think I saw people posting that on Twitter and I was like, oh, Ben Simmons, who's never played a game for the Brooklyn Nets, we're making that excuse for them now.
Right, exactly. But like the stretch
God.
between, like you were saying, Christmas and then the finals, I can't remember a time where a team has ascended that much on both ends of the ball. And so that's just really exciting. But also another thing we were talking about yesterday during our during a meeting is just like there's an NBA middle class that the Celtics haven't been in some years because they've always been just above it. And that is something we've talked about before, Josh, where there's all these expectations because you have been in the conference finals and have been very successful. But even when you think about it, like if you go 5 years in the future, you will look at this year as the first time that these guys went to the finals.
Yeah.
And they went against a team that has so much experience and the best shooter in history and probably another person who will end up as one of the top.
And like a generationally talented defensive player as well. And who, God, it was so great. Those couple of games he played like total ass. It was so much fun to watch Draymond Green just like 2 for 12. And I was, and again, that's that feeling of like enormous respect for him as a player, which is why it's so delightful to watch him go 2 for 12. Like,
yeah,
I'm not rooting for Otto Porter Jr. to have a bad game.
Hey, that's a former Max guy.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, which does not.
Well, that's a
live in the
Washington
past,
Wizard.
Harry.
That's a Washington Wizards contract. So,
Ugh.
But yeah, I'm glad that you're celebrating it. I think they should be celebrated. I think they'll be good in the future. And I like the idea of if you have a team that you feel like is in the NBA's middle class, you can look at what the Celtics have done, look at what the Suns have done, and also just appreciate your team now without needing to see a championship in the next 3 years. I wish that was more fun. There's not a lot of things that are super fun, I'd say in general right now. So it's a sport. Why not just have a little bit of fun with the fact that like Devontae Graham might have a better year? That's worth thinking is great just as much as going to a championship.
Why not like to complain that your team didn't win the championship? Again, coming from where they came from, which is like 18 months of being like 500-ish, seeming like maybe they didn't have a buy-in on a philosophy that like was super fun to even watch as a team. If like you can't be happy unless your team wins the championship, that's resigning yourself to just a life of almost constant unhappiness. And like I would like to believe that there are things to enjoy other than just like winning it all. Like I would love for them to win a championship with this core, but that doesn't mean I have to be mad now that they didn't. You know, in 5 years, if this team tapers off from here, I'd be like, oh, what a bummer that's how it all wound up. But like right now, I feel like the very like AIM away message of like, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Like I feel like I'm that like just like a tattoo of a butterfly between my shoulder blades, that kind of vibe that I'm giving off. But that is how I feel.
Yeah. Well,
The
I mean,
nicest Celtics fan ever.
no, I know, except for your aunt.
Yeah.
Yes,
you and
your
Aunt
aunt-
Charlene. Wow. Top tier
I was gonna ask,
Celtics
how is
fan.
she doing? How's she feeling about this?
She's wonderful. She's on cloud.
Oh,
I wasn't
good.
allowed to call her during the finals, but now she's doing okay. She's doing all right.
Good.
She was
I'm
happy
glad.
that they were there, but she lives in the Bay, so she was kind of rooting for the Warriors too. So
Okay.
she was like, I'm in a win-win situation.
What a beautiful place to be as a sports fan. I salute that, and I don't think it's disloyal. Although I will say, in the Bay, I think it's different. I feel like when this is just like a personal micro pet peeve of when people move from one place to like LA or to like New York and are like, I'm the biggest Lakers fan that's ever lived and I'm courtside. It's like, okay, come on, bud. That's just, you just have money and this is the team you can watch now that you have money.
Yes.
It would be funny to bandwagon to the Lakers right now, though.
Or the Knicks ever.
Yeah, or the Knicks ever. Although the vibes with the Knicks are just good enough. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to chart out all of the offseason messiness. And I guess talk about, and Kyrie is the same thing. So
It's in there. Yeah.
they are one
Messy,
conversation. Yeah.
Kyrie.
Okay. We're back. The last thing I want to say about the NBA's middle class and like you being happy to just have witnessed this Celtics season, not that they're at all in the middle class of anything, is that I think a lot of the polarization of like you have to be happy only if your team goes so far, you have to be distraught, is just a result of how the game is covered, which I guess technically, even though we might find this hilarious, includes you and me, Jordan. But I just would push back on that again. And as we're going to talk about these offseason moves, if you get, I was going to say De'Aaron Fox, but actually I think that's a huge get. If you get a role player who you're like, this might really change our bench, that's enough to celebrate, you know?
It is. Celebrate the small things.
Agreed.
Yeah, celebrate the small things. On Friday, guess what I did? I cried.
Yeah.
Because
That was
Friday
my
was
thing to
awful.
celebrate.
Yeah, so I'm like, just take the small things and that's good enough. So now we're gonna go through some social media moves. Well, I guess first we can do Kyrie.
Sure.
Really recently, it looks like they've settled on something where Kyrie is going to stay. He's going to be able to enter unrestricted free agency in 2023. It looks like now, after reading a report from the last week, he had 3 potential opt-in and trade, so sign and trade options. But it was basically like could have been the only teams with the projected salary cap space. Oh, I hate hearing myself talk right now. Were Detroit, San Antonio, Orlando, Indiana, and New York. That's more than 3. So I wonder which ones were legitimate.
Yeah, it's interesting.
For him, that none of those really make sense. I'm sure Indiana thinks that it makes sense for them because they're like, we're never rebuilding. We've never rebuilt in our life. We're always just perfectly built. Detroit, I honestly was like, I would love to see it. Okay, New York is, of course, just going to be in there for fun, as they
Always.
usually are. I was explaining to my aunt the other day that this always happens, like when they were clearing house for Jaylen during the draft. Like they just clear house every year, and they're like convinced we're going to get LeBron, we're going to get KD,
I
we're
was
going to
watching.
sign Kyrie. We're gonna sign LeBron. You know what I mean? It's just always
Yep.
someone. They're the real optimists. Yeah.
I was watching, or I was with 2 Knicks fans that I work with while we were watching, while the draft was happening. Not Jesus and Mero. I took the.
I was
the
like-
No. I have a very funny way to describe it. I was hanging with 2 Knicks fans, wink, but two guys that I work with, the Jesus and Mero writers' room, went out to do karaoke that night, and they were the heights they hit of just like it's about to happen, and I was like happy for them, and then like an hour later they're like, it didn't happen, it's not gonna happen. The Knicks
Every
are doing
draft.
Knicks things again.
Every draft. Every
so
draft.
great.
Oh my goodness.
We did a piece for the show where they watched Jesus and Mero and some friends watched the draft lottery, and it was the Zion. It was the year they got
Oh
RJ
my
Barrett,
God.
and like just watching it as they crept up and like got towards 3 was just like jubilation. It was, and like again, celebrate the small things. 3rd pick in a 2-player draft.
I think the Knicks fans are actually a really good example of celebrate the small things.
100%.
Relish in
Yes.
the small things. Yeah.
Yeah.
The possibility of just having a number one pick. I remember our coworkers came in with Knicks jerseys, hats. It was like it was a home game just to watch the lottery because the possibility of something great could happen.
What a
And it didn't.
beautiful way to live. Just what an open-hearted, generous, enthusiastic way to live your life. And I also love how when the good thing doesn't happen, they go 60-0 so fast.
They,
You don't talk about someone's stopping speed like that, but a Knicks fan can turn off the enthusiasm tap at the drop of a hat.
the come down seems sharp and harsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. It's interesting they're in the same city as the Nets because, again, I don't want to talk too much about the Kyrie thing because it's just going to be what it is going to be. Like I hope he plays really well this year and gets a new deal next year somewhere he really wants to play and stay. And it seems like KD is like still kind of considering what he wants, but feels like he's going to stay because Kyrie is staying. I did see a report that said several teams are expected to continue to pursue Irving via trade. So maybe he'd still get traded, but that just doesn't even make sense because he's going to enter unrestricted free agency in 2023. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about Kyrie. At this point, I'm a little bit like considering a ban the way we banned talking about Ben Simmons.
It might be because it's going to be so much. This is just the start. It is June 28th that we are talking about this. We're going to be talking about it the whole offseason. But I will say that Lakers fans went through a roller coaster these past couple days, and I wasn't really a part of it. I was watching it from afar, but I saw a video of, I think Overtime posted Kyrie and LeBron were like driving on the 405 in LA, and people were like, oh my gosh, Kyrie, they're looking for houses together. He's going to live in his back house. He's coming to LA. And I was like, do we want this? I think they're just so excited about anything that Lakers fans were latching onto this idea, and the Photoshops were crazy.
I was just thinking
Out
about
of
the
this world.
Photoshops. Those were some of the most premature Photoshops in the history. That's like a pre-written obituary for someone who's like 20 years old. It's like, let's wait till there's some inkling.
It was nothing. It was nothing. So Lakers fans, it's okay. We're going to be okay. It's okay. And I think it's also not really surprising that he chose the amount of money that he does have on the table. I would not say no to that at all. So when it came back full circle, it's like, this is how it was supposed to happen. It was just drama all the way around the circle to get back here.
I love how you said that Lakers fans are excited about anything because I have some good news for you. Russell Westbrook just opted into his $46 million deal to be a Laker again.
That's amazing.
I'm happy for that because no one else was going to take that money. So it was going to happen. I am an optimist in the sense that I believe that Russ will be better next year. I think this year was a throwaway year. And then I really believe he's going to be better because he posted a video singing Beyonce, Don't Break My Soul. And he's just vibing out in the car. And that is a great sign. If you're singing Beyonce in the car after you're making millions and millions of dollars to play in LA, it's going to be a good year. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
This just sounds
Don't
that just
replay
sounds like
this,
you
Russell.
that just sounds like you endorse Russell Westbrook's personal happiness and well-being, which I'm not against.
Yes. Because, I mean, especially the song, like, You Can't Break My Soul.
I just
feel
quit my job.
Lakers fans were trying to break his soul. They were saying the worst things about him, that he was washed, that he's never going to be good again. And he's just vibing out to Beyonce saying, you can't break me. I'm here and I'm making a lot more money than all of you people who are saying those things. So
That is true.
it's a good vibe. I
Speaking of
subscribe to
that
this.
video, we have this chart that Harry made that's like, Harry, you know the word. You explain
It's like
it.
a political axis, you know,
Okay.
like authoritarian, those four, except the y-axis is messy, not messy, and
Okay.
the x-axis is money, not money. And
Ooh,
so
okay.
money
But we
not
mean-
being like that's so money.
Oh, got it. Okay. Money in
Yeah.
the swingers sense of the word.
Wow.
Harry said this, and I was like, I've never seen that movie. And then he sent me the clip of Vince Vaughn
Yeah.
telling
Wow.
John Favreau that he's
In that you're so money, baby.
You're so money and you don't even know it. Of course.
Oh my god!
I'm a 37-year-old white guy. I've seen
Yeah,
this movie.
yeah. Exactly,
I was like,
yeah.
wow, we're hitting a demographic we usually don't hit.
No,
Man.
I was gonna I was like, it's from Swingers, you haven't seen it, and then I was gonna be like, oh, Haley, you would love it, it's so good, because I do love Swingers, and then
Yeah.
I was like going back about like what that movie is about, and I was like, okay, maybe she wouldn't like it.
there are, I'll stand up for like many individual moments in that
Yes.
movie, but I haven't watched the whole thing in a long time, so it might be one of those where you're like, oh, that?
Didn't age well, probably.
But there is like a very sweet, like John Favreau's arc of like needing to love himself and stop worrying about someone who broke his heart, I think is like a very nice thing to think about. But that scene, if you're so money you don't even know it, is like very fun.
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
about is it E&M? Well, you just taught me, Harry. Is it E&M or is it ENF? Which one is
Ethically non-monogamous?
Yeah.
ENF.
Is it about swingers?
No.
Oh.
No. It's like swinging, just like hip guys, more like
Yeah.
it.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a
it's
term?
not.
I don't know.
It means the thing you thought more than it means anything else, for sure.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I probably won't watch it. But I
I think that's
appreciate
very
this.
fair.
Yeah,
I can't argue with that
They were
decision.
so young, just in that clip.
They were young.
It was a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Well, Vince Vaughn looks really young. I think actually John Favreau looks the same. Not in a mean way. He
fair.
just has always had that exact face.
Got
Whereas
kind of a
like
baby face, yeah.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn had like a kind of slender boyishness to him at the time, and John Favreau did. He had that kind of rounder baby face that he's now he has like a similar vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
so
yes.
we'll put that's the chart. Messy, not messy, money,
Okay.
not money.
Got it.
And let's put we're gonna do a couple like things that have happened on social media. Most of them are kind of proactive toward like, oh, this is encouraging someone to sign here or want to be traded or whatever. So, but this one obviously is not. Where would you put Russ singing in the car on this chart? I would put not messy and money. So in the lower
Good, clean fun.
fourth
Yep.
quadrant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Completely agree.
look, what are we supposed to say? Like you guys were both saying, he's just backing himself, as they'd say on Love Island. He literally is just like, I'm gonna give myself another chance. And what else is he supposed to do? People can't be upset about that. Good for him.
yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
It was a little, I don't think it was messy. It was a little petty for the choice of words and song lyrics he was singing, because he's like, he could have sang any song, but he specifically did that song. But definitely on the money side. Definitely. I'm happy for him.
Yep. Agreed. Money, not high money, low messiness.
It is like literal money. Yeah.
Literal
Yeah,
money.
for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. He's so money, and he's very aware of it.
He knows
because he
it,
just
yeah.
signed a contract.
Yeah.
Can I put forth maybe this being not money?
Yeah.
Which
Ooh, okay.
would be the argument that if you're a Lakers fan, you're like, okay, yes, Russell Westbrook is going to come back. He's going to figure out his role. He's going to be successful coming off the bench. He's going to not take these bad shots, limit those, just be the perfect, athletic bench guard we need. I'm not sure this video is saying that.
I don't know that it's money for the Lakers. I think we're talking about
It's money for Westbrook, yeah.
two largely aligned but not completely aligned sets of interests. And I think as a move for one guy to do, I think it's money. As a team building endeavor, I would say
It's a big question
less
mark,
money.
honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
right
But
now.
look, I don't know. I'm not in charge of the Lakers salary cap.
Fair.
I would also say the use of the song is a little bit funny to me. Even, because of the person who's singing it both in the video and then just like Beyonce singing it at all, because on Twitter people were like, yeah, I feel like if you're rich, you're good. like your soul's not going to be broken. Like in these times, you're probably fine. But you know what? I don't think Russell Westbrook cares to read a room. I don't think it's that he can't. I think it's that he just chooses to do the thing where you're like reading a page and you're thinking about something else and you glaze over it. So good for him.
Yes, I agree with that.
Let's go to the next one. And I actually want Harry to hear what you have to say about this because let me click on it. This is a Photoshop about the Blazers. It's loading. Okay, so we've got Dame on the left. He's in a Portland jersey that we've seen a million times. It's the red one with the stripe. And then we see next to him one Kevin Durant, who is also in a Blazers jersey. You might say, that doesn't make sense. Kevin Durant's never played for the Blazers. This is a Photoshop. This happens a lot during free agency. And this was posted, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, on Dame's Instagram, which I have a quick side note about. I think that's really interesting because he's never been portrayed as someone who's like desperate. You know, he's always been this like very cool person who gets along with a lot of guys in the league. He doesn't come across as desperate, but if you think about it, he's done this actually a lot of times and it's never really worked out. So I do think that's a bit interesting. The Melo one did work out. Why don't we associate him with that? I guess is what I'm asking. But this Photoshop was also posted by Yusuf Nurkic, who arguably is a better teammate than DeAndre Jordan because Harry, you made a very good point yesterday.
Yeah, right. Well, we were talking. So, Nurkic posted this little tweet with the Photoshop and this like missing piece emoji, right? And
the puzzle piece.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I thought though was like, my dude, you're in the trade.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no!
there's no way Kevin Durant is getting traded without some salaries to match. Like he's gonna be, it's gonna be 2023. He's gonna be re-photoshopping him in a Brooklyn Nets jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just saying like, even if I'm not here, this is what I want for the Portland Trailblazers. Like,
I just
you
think
guys
they're
deserve
so
this.
good. They would be so good together. Just as a fan of the game, who wouldn't want to watch?
He
this?
really does seem like a big enough Blazers fan at this point that he would do that. I'm not even, he's like so down for the cause with the Blazers. I am putting for Nurkic specifically posting this Photoshop. I'm going to put this in not money 100% all the way over and then in between, like, you know, definitely on the messy side, but like barely, just because it's like, yeah, you guys always do this. There's always a Blazers Photoshop. I'm not convinced at this point the players aren't like asking for it because it happens every single year. The return rate is extremely low. So it's kind of expected. And I think it'd be maybe messier if they weren't doing it because their fans would be wondering if they're not trying to recruit enough. So that's where I'm putting this. How about you guys?
Go ahead, Josh.
I've got low messiness, very low messiness. Like you said, Haley, they need to improve the team. They need to improve the roster. It's not like there is a trade that has been bubbling up that it's like Dame is implying like, get this bum out of here and bring in KD. So it's not like a beef necessarily with somebody that he plays with. It's just like, I want to play with one of the all-time greats. So low messiness, but also extremely low money. Once Kyrie signed in Brooklyn, it became like off the side of the backboard brick, not a money jumper. Yeah, it's a rough to call your, like, it's this is like the story about Moby being like, I used to date Natalie Portman, and Natalie Portman being like, we never dated.
We never
like it's like
dated.
that
And
level
you're
of just
fucking weird.
like just that level of a brick in public because of the timing.
I forgot all about
Yeah, that was I forgot about that too.
Oh, what a
Good.
fucking freak. And then also there's some drama where he fucked over his workers in his restaurant in LA. I'm taking
Moby
a very
did?
fuck Moby stance. Yeah. There's like a 3%, let's go 30. There's a 30% chance I'm remembering that wrong. If that is the case, I'm still taking the fuck Moby stance just purely off the Natalie Portman stuff. But I would like to think that it extends to him treating his employees wrong.
Yeah. I agree with the not messy, not money. Not messy because, again, if anybody had the opportunity to play with Kevin Durant, you're gonna want it. Like, sure, why not? Especially Dame. He is at the point of desperation. I think we're gonna see him posting a lot of Photoshops, and then sending them in the group text with the GM, just saying like, "Hey, what about this?"
He's got a graphic designer that's just on retainer doing Photoshops
he's
for
gonna hire a graphic designer to do the Photoshops himself. That might be a little messy, but I agree. If you can get the chance, you're gonna post it. You're gonna float the idea out there. He's like dreaming of what that would look like.
Harry, what about you?
Agreed.
Same as you guys. I think it's not the messiest thing in the world. We're certainly going to see some more messier things on this list, but it's also just tough, and I don't blame them. But Portland's just not a destination city for these stars, so it's hard. Like, you're going to need more than a Photoshop to.
Yeah, which for a number of reasons, like, but
right.
You know what I mean? It's just I'm sorry, it's just a little bit tough being in Portland. From the
You know what he should do?
Organizational standpoint, stories we've heard, etc. Yeah.
He should Photoshop Phil Knight into the owner.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to Photoshop.
Now, once he reposts that one, that's a
messy.
little messy.
That's messy.
High, money high.
Yeah, that would be start photoshopping your like general manager. Photoshop Chauncey out. Like, put someone in his suit.
Yeah. Front office Photoshops are a new category of messy
I really
that I
want
hadn't
that.
even considered before.
Also, I wish that we had. I wish our merch was ready so we could Photoshop Katie into one of our shirts. Can we do that when they come out?
I wear my Spinsters hoodie all the time. It's like one of my cherished pieces of clothing.
Well, you're about to get something else.
What? Oh, this is great news. I'm very excited.
Okay, the next one is Jaylen Brown. Oh, okay, this is the tweet. Okay, so it's a tweet from Bleacher Report. Confirmed. It's the check mark. I didn't get duped. It says Jaylen Brown's likes, and then it's got the little eyeballs that are looking to the side. Okay, so it's a screenshot of Jaylen Brown's Twitter page on the likes tab, and the most recent one is from a Twitter user named Johnny with a shamrock at Bantonio Clown, which I guess is a play on the NFL player, I suppose.
Oh,
And it says, Jaylen Brown is so disrespected by Celtics fans. So apparently Jaylen Brown liked, not apparently, like, I'm sure that this was a legitimate screenshot.
Yeah,
he liked this. I don't know why I'm like doing the alleged where there needs to not be an alleged. You know what I mean? Like, why am I using the passive voice here? Like, okay. Jaylen Brown liked this tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Tweet in Jaylen Brown's feed liked by NBA player.
Appears to have been allegedly liked by NBA player. Yeah. Wow, that was scary good, Josh. Have you written for AP before?
No, I'm kind of I do a New York Times recap of criminal justice reform, so I'm used to writing things that are
in your spare time.
So quick. Okay, Jordan, before we get to the Celtics fans in the room, how do you feel about this? What are you thinking?
It's tough because it's a like. It's not a retweet. It's not a quote tweet. I think that would make it more messy, but it's still a little messy. It's a little messy because you know how the world works. Someone's gonna find it. They're going on, especially during this free agency. Everybody's going on the like tab for every NBA player. So you kind of were secret about your messiness. So I'm gonna put it a little lower on the axis, kind of like right in the middle a little bit. It's only on the money side if there's something, we talk about all the time where there's going to be an agent leak that Jaylen Brown wants something, or he's like setting up for something in the future. That's where it's money because he's laying the groundwork. But I don't know if he is disrespected by Celtics fans. I don't think that's the case. I think besides the whole thing that Jackson tweeted about, he's like the best player with the worst handles. Like, that was just kind of a fact. I don't know if that was disrespect. I think it's really true. Yeah. So I'm gonna go little on the middle with the messy and not money, because unless he's getting something out of this in the long run, you're just kind of making your fans mad at you, which isn't the best strategy to me.
Josh, what do you think?
I'm going to go mid-messy. It is a medium messy thing to do because, again, Jordan said it, you know people are going to find this. And there is always like a little, like when it's like Celtics trade rumors, it's like, is Jaylen Brown getting traded for Bradley Beal? Like he's always the like the trade chip, which like to put it that way, he's also like a human being. And so I can understand that being stressful and upsetting and people being like, get him out of here, bring in this guy. And because I do think there is a little level of disrespect. I think the handles thing is why I will put it, and as an optimist, ever so slightly money. Like we're going to get Jason. I'm hoping what it means is we're getting Jaylen Brown and one mixtape summer where he's just doing dribbling drills around chairs, blindfolded, throwing passes into a bucket of like a peach basket or whatever, James Naismith style. Like I just want to see Jaylen Brown take this as like, oh, you think I don't have handles? I'm coming back next year. Because that is, again, something that can be improved and something that he's so much better at than he was when he came into the league. It's just that the load that was put on him in the finals was like clearly more than at this point he's ready to take on as like a playmaker, shot creator. So I think ever so slightly money, medium messy for sure.
That would destroy Jackson if that tweet that he like actually was Jaylen Brown's motivation for liking this. Like that would absolutely, because Jackson already had to, as a Celtics fan, go to the finals and like be happy, just kind of as an aside that the Warriors won, just because he's Draymond's producer, so for his podcast. So that would be actually very hilarious. Sorry, Jackson.
I would love it. I would love for that to happen, because I really like Jaylen Brown as a player. I like love to see the activism he does. I think it's really like instructional and righteous. And so I do want him to feel happy and appreciated, but I also would like him to stop throwing the ball away in traffic or just getting stripped going to the hoop.
Yeah, I would
say, get off your foot.
Throwing off your foot. Sure. Why do we have to be talking about old shit, Jordan? Why are we bringing
I'm sorry. Woo.
I also do think that there's been time and time again where he's stepped up past anyone's expectations of him in the I don't want to say the shadow, because it's not like Jason has made it feel that way, I don't think, but as a clear 1B, he's accepted this and has continuously stepped up. So I do feel bad for him. But Harry, what do you think?
I agree, medium messy. The place where maybe it's more money than you guys are giving him credit for, just in the sense that, he is young. It's a young core. They're going to be together longer. Like, it's not the end of the world to feel like I'm disrespected. There's more I can show the world. He wasn't. It's not. It wasn't a tweet that was like Jaylen Brown's actually better than Jason Tatum, or the Lakers or the Celtics. Or like he would be better
off on another team.
Right. It could totally be, and I think that's where I went initially. Is like, oh, he thinks he can't play with Tatum, but he probably thinks he can play with Tatum, and it's more just about the general, like he's like, I just averaged 26 a game in the finals, like
right,
what are you saying, I'm second fiddle, so that's maybe a little like not so money, but medium.
Okay I'll take that.
I'm putting for the same reason, Harry, because it's kind of just about this might make it appear less messy, but I'll get sent in a second. I'm putting it low money, not money at all, because definitely you're allowed to feel what you're feeling. But I just don't like on main, if you're trying to present, that you're going to be able to bring it, the self-pity or like the victimizing. But I do think, again, like he is disrespectful, so I understand. But for me, I'm a little bit like, you have to understand a little bit of the implications of liking something like this. Like you could just always take it out in another way. Like you said, Jordan, like they know what to do. Maybe this is all part of an organized move with the agent drop. I would love to see that. But if you want Celtics fans to start respecting you, liking this tweet isn't going to do it. And I think he knows that. Where I think it's actually all the way messy is because exactly that. He knows exactly what he's doing. To your point, Jordan, you know, even if you have 325 followers, that when you like a tweet, someone will see that you have liked that tweet. Twitter has made sure of that. And also, he has 568.3 thousand. Is that it? Maybe they do disrespect him. Followers. And I'm like, wait, never mind. People are checking it, right? You're in free agency. I mean, not even in the millions. Like, that's not even, that's just over half. That's kind of, all right, maybe in real time reconsidering. It is extremely messy because we have grown up with social media. We know exactly what it is. We know exactly what it means when you like someone's picture, when you comment a certain thing, when you diddy crop someone. All of these things, we know exactly what they are. When you subtweet, we've aged out of the generation in the NBA. They're all retired, almost all retired. There's maybe like 1 to 2 I could permit this with who do not understand what they're doing. And so it's just a funny thing for like.
Right. There's no guys doing like the Ted Cruz 9/11 porn like tweet.
100%. And also, there's no accidental likes anymore. When's the last time you accidentally liked something? I'm dead serious. Think about it. I haven't done that in years.
My thumbs
unless I told you I did, and then I definitely accidentally liked it. You know what I mean? You just don't. Like, the only thing I've done recently is like a year ago, I accidentally followed someone. And you know what I mean? That's because, but then Twitter even changed where the follow thing was. You don't do it anymore. You know how to scroll. You know how to avoid that. Come on.
He knows what he's doing.
You know what you're doing. Yeah. So I think it's messy.
Definitely.
Okay. Let's go to Knicks brass going to Utah game. So according to, is it Begley? Ian Begley?
I think so.
I think so. That's how it said.
Who was a reporter. Some prominent members of the Jazz were surprised and upset Knicks exec William Wesley sat courtside for Utah Dallas playoff series. This isn't a new report, is it? This is just
No, this is old, but I put it on because it is, in my opinion,
relevant.
Big money, big messy.
Okay, you can. Okay, so
Please
hold on.
explain.
Let me give the scenario, and then I would love for you to explain. Okay, so he was there. Randall was there, which is more expected because of where Julius Randle's from. And I think someone else was there. Wasn't Dolan's son there?
I don't
let me
know,
click. You explain, and I'm gonna click on I'm gonna do a little.
Well, so yeah,
research.
at the Jazz, the Jazz Dallas series, the series that Jaylen Brunson was going off, a bunch of Knicks brass sat really close, including the GM William Wesley of the Knicks, and why I'm putting it big money, big messy is it's messy because it's like I've never heard of this level of disrespect of like courting a player in the middle of a playoff series. That is for a team that he's playing on a different team. And I think it's money because, the Knicks have to lean into what they're good at. And they're good at being in the middle of New York and being like flashy and being, all of these things. I think that we need more moves like this from the Knicks. Like for hiring, Worldwide West, great, just because of who he is, They need more like basketball Illuminati figures just sitting courtside at other people's games. That is that's how the Knicks get back on top is kind of reckless stuff like that.
Not to go full Sandler again, but this is how they win, is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So I love it.
I think we'll see if it's going to pay. But yeah, the aggression makes sense. I mean, what else are you going to do? People aren't coming to you, no offense. But this is what so Knicks execs have been making, again, this is like, 2 months old at this point, have been making the rounds during the playoffs. On Thursday, Knicks consultant Gerson Rosas was at the Timberwolves Grizzlies playoff game.
That's messy, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
He was photographed with Quentin Dolan, who's James Dolan's son. Hang on, I
didn't even know about that one.
I gotta Google what this guy looks like. I cannot wait another second.
Yeah,
what the fuck? Okay, everybody Google him right now. This has to be a joke. He's a beefy man.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
I see. It always happens when I follow my intuition. I knew I had to find out what the fuck he looked like. He's a juicy.
Wait, the Knicks
and I don't
are
mean
back.
that. You know what I mean? He's one of those where the shoulders are like in the neck.
He's got a real gym tan laundry vibe.
Yeah.
A real GTL type of guy.
Yeah, okay. So
how are they related?
I'm getting some Tom Hanks, Chet Hanks vibes right now where I don't quite understand the pipeline from father to son.
If you look at what the beard is doing for his jawline, says a guy with no jawline and a beard, I feel like the resemblance to his father is like a little more visible. You kind of let your eyes go magic eye loose and you're like, oh, I can see how that would be genetically similar.
Yeah, that is a good point.
This is really... It's also very limited pictures of him, and the main picture is... Do you remember when Pete Davidson like made out with... Who was that what he was dating at the time?
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale?
Yeah.
He was sitting behind them. And that was like all over the internet. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? He was sitting behind them, and that's all of his images on Google Image.
Fascinating. Gerson Roses scouting at a Timberwolves game after being pushed out of the Timberwolves for being a pretty scandalous dude is like even messier potentially.
I want you to listen to this next sentence, Josh. You're going to love it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No. Just because of that specifically. According to The Athletic, Rosas, the former Timberwolves top exec, took Dolan on a tour of the team's practice facility.
The messiness is, we're breaking the charts here.
We're
off
the chart. Yeah, we're off the chart of like 2-month-old news, but you were breaking it here.
This is the Knicks have gone full page 6 spelled SICKS now.
Yeah,
I think it's going back to like the AAU circuit. Like they're going and they're scouting, they're recruiting. And when you're on that, you're during that time, you think about the people that came to see you play. And I think that's what they're tapping into. They're like, they came, they supported me, they were there, they saw me in person. It wasn't just on film. So I think that's what they're tapping into.
Yeah, but it's also like the same girl song, because it's like on this end of the court, Donovan Mitchell's like, oh, they're watching me play, like blah, 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 blah. They go, this song, it's Jaylen Brunson. Like, you know what I mean? They both think they're there for him.
I think that's smart and extra messy.
Yeah.
This is off extra the charts. Messy. And I would also say maybe not all the way money for me, but you got to do something. And no, actually, I'll put it all the way. I'll go all the way. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. So the next one we have is, it just says Draymond podcast shade. Harry, what's that mean?
This one was just he's been really going at Kendrick Perkins.
Right. Let me get the exact quote. I remember this. Hang on. I'm going to find it. He said something that was
money.
pretty mean, but I think for me personally, hang on.
Yeah, I don't think this one's moving any free agents anywhere. But
shit, I'm not reading this one out loud, but it is mean.
Oh no.
I'm not reading it out loud.
Draymond is messy often just for the love of the game, which I respect. That it's not like bulletin board material, getting motivated. It's not like to draw people to him. He's just like, I'm messy because it thrills me. And I like that about him.
That's what I was going to say. For me, I like the continuity of he's like the character that some people are either in the, on the court as, I don't know, actors, as a comedian, maybe, like whatever. No, he is Draymond. At home.
Yeah.
Probably when he's picking his kids up from school, when he's in Trader Joe's, in line, and someone is you're in the like big line before it disperses to the smaller lines.
Yep.
Someone's trying to take advantage of it. No, he's always Draymond Green.
Right. He's
you are
grabbing
never
your
getting away with
grocery
that
cart,
shit.
pulling it to the side, acting indignant when you notice it.
Yeah, exactly. Like calling over to the manager. Exactly. He is very authentically himself.
I don't know if you've seen Steph and Aisha Curry's HBO Max talk show game show about last night. There's an episode, Draymond is one of the contestants / guests, and he and his wife talk like kind of surprisingly candidly about how much of his just like day-to-day motivation is having sex. It's like fast where like everyone else, like, because Aisha Curry is kind of like chaste influencer, like momfluencer in that arena, like religious adjacent, and he's just like all the questions that are like moderately sexual, he's like, well, when I get up in the morning, I'm ready to have sex, and when I go to bed at night, I'm ready to have sex. I love having sex.
Draymond
And it's
Green
just
is
like,
saying this?
yeah, truly. And his wife is like, not in a grotesque way, and not in a like a predatory way. And she's just
am
like,
so
this is
surprised.
true about him. He loves to have
Like,
sex. We have sex a lot.
It's like, this
It's
is my
like-
guy.
It's fascinating that was just like, this is just on TV.
Doesn't surprise me though,
I'm
because
putting that in
again,
the high money, medium messy.
I think the messiness is just a character trait of Draymond Green.
It's
He just wants to
following
stir
him
some stuff.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Harry, what is this next one about Aiden? Is this true?
No.
You made this up.
Yeah.
This is a
Oh
lie.
my god.
I've mixed in a few fake ones.
Are all the bottom ones
man.
fake ones?
Yes, I should have.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell mysteriously deleted his B reel.
Are you guys
B-Reel
doing
is
that? B-Reel? My
awesome.
friend sent me a link. What?
It's fun. It's fun.
You do
I
it?
like it. I do it.
So you do it every day?
Yeah, they just send you a notification and it's like only to your friend group or only to the people that follow you on BeReal, and you have to take a picture like in that moment. So it takes away like the curated Instagram filter, scheduling. It's just like, this is what I'm doing right now. And all my friends live super far away, so it's fun, and they have babies too, so it's just cute pictures
That's
of their
cute.
babies. And it's pretty fun. I have to
Are most
admit.
people on this? Are you guys all on this?
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm trying. I would like to never add a new social media.
Yeah,
Not
that's
'cause
my
I
only
think they're
thing.
bad. Like they're too
Social
good.
media?
I think
Social
the
media,
I'm already
yes.
totally chaotically addicted to all the ones that
Same.
like,
I
already
gotta go
exist.
one in, one out at
Yeah,
this point.
like I can't. It's yeah. I need.
Yeah,
But a bunch of my friends
on
are on it.
TikTok is so funny because I'll always want. There are references that I feel like because you are in a
Terminally
niche
online.
online. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, trying to say it a nicer way. That I thought you would understand in the same way where like I'll send something to Sean. I also want to do a series. I was thinking another off-season episode we could have is going back through all the TikToks I send Sean when I'm high, because I sent him them as a test for in the morning. Was it funny or not? Or was I just high? And most of them are pretty funny, but sometimes he's just like, don't send this to me again. Like, so yeah, anyway. But I thought that could be a good episode. So put that on the list.
Put it on the list.
Okay, so none of these. So these are the ones that Harry made up. DeAndre Ayton just followed Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham on IG. D'Angelo
That would have
Russell.
been a good one.
At least it would have shown some like, hey, I want to be here. I'm
Yeah,
not sure where
yeah.
exactly he wants to be right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been good. D'Angelo Russell has mysteriously deleted his Be Real. That's pretty good. And then De'Aaron Fox in his most recent Instagram post is wearing a New York Yankees hat. I like that you clarified that it was the New York Yankees.
Right. Well, yeah.
Thank you for that.
I was
Thank
gonna do a Knicks hat, but then I was thinking like no
Too much.
NBA
Too much, too
player.
much.
Well, can you imagine just being an NBA player and wearing? It would be like
Another
being in a band
team's-
and wearing your own T-shirt. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
And who's LeBron wore a Yankees hat at some point, and it was like a minor media story.
Oh yeah, it's the
It
fact
always-
that LeBron just like he has 1 billion baseball teams, right? Or
It's
his
the best
fandom is
team.
all over the place.
He
A
just
take I've had for a while is that he is actually who people think Drake is.
I was about to say it's a
Because
very similar thing.
he's a Cowboys fan.
Interesting.
He's a Yankees fan. Is that it? Is that all
was
I've
a
had?
Cleveland-
Well, he went to the Lakers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
don't
we
even
did
know
win
his
a championship. We
Ohio
did win.
State, when Ohio State was good, all of a sudden he turned into a Cleveland baseball team fan when they were good. The Browns shit I don't want to talk about because of their quarterback. Who I
Wow,
hope gets
this is
suspended
so-
into eternity.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, I think that he is a bandwagon.
Wait,
Sierra
Sierra
said-
just said, yeah, go ahead.
It's so funny.
Sierra says LeBron's off-court demeanor is the same energy as Jason Derulo. Yeah,
Jason Derulo.
LeBron in a Yankees hat, and he's like, I say this not to disrespect his achievements or as a athlete or a businessman, but him wearing a Yankees hat, it does have that Jason Derulo feel of like, I'm a dad and I bought this on vacation in New York.
yeah.
Yes, at a
I was
gift shop.
I forgot a hat and I was at the airport. And I got this Yankees hat.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
And it would be
These
the
are hot
standard one.
takes.
It wouldn't be any kind of like cool,
Yeah,
you know,
limited
it'd be like
edition.
or like the slightly distressed. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be LeBron. No offense to him, but I mean, he
I-
is.
I want to see this, and this might be my Celtics bias coming out, but I feel like Jason Tatum's young dad energy in his like off-court stuff, like with Deuce being around all the time and him doing like potato chip commercials that are like, you know, kind of fun and sweet, is like he's trying to come for that NBA dad throne that like
He is.
Steph, Chris Paul, LeBron have.
Yeah,
That's what
He-
he's shooting for.
He just posted a video recently of Deuce like doing a Euro step, like really bad but really cute, and he's
So
just behind the camera. He's like shaking because he's laughing so much, like one of those recordings. I'm like, I love this content. Top
It's
tier
really
content.
cute.
that's cute. You
So
know,
cute.
I will say that we have at least solid proof from two guys now that if you have a child, your game is going to shoot up, especially in the playoffs. I would like to do it overall. If you're a Supreme Court judge and you're listening, turn this off. I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, kind of a rough week to be like,
This
we
is
should just see what happens
what if
when
we were
people
hired
just
out by the
have to
Supreme Court
have
to do
kids.
propaganda? Oh, yep, never mind.
no.
Not going down that road.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Not going down that road, but congrats again to Fred VanVleet and who had a
Derek White.
pass? Derek
Derek
White.
Derek White coming into the playoffs, just shooting
Yeah.
the lights out after the second baby named Hendricks to be born to someone on this roster in the past 6 months.
Who's the first one?
Rob Williams has a baby named Hendricks, a baby son.
Oh
named
my
Hendricks.
goodness.
I wonder if
Yeah,
they're gonna be friends or if they're gonna feud.
Oh, I
You're
hope they're
setting
friends.
someone up to either be like really close or
yeah.
I
feud forever. The same way
know.
like Trey and Luca, I don't think can ever really be like
Mm-hmm.
super close friends because you are literally pitted against each other.
Derek White was asked about it, and he said that they picked out the name before he was even traded to Boston from San Antonio.
Oh.
Oh, so they fell in love with the name. They weren't.
It is a cool name. If it was a bad
cool.
name, I'd be like, that's so stupid. But it is,
Yeah.
that's a good name. Yeah.
Yep.
That is a good name.
Did they spell it? They both spell it with an X.
I think so. Because I
What
think
if you
it's
have
both
to?
the Jimmy, right? It's like Jimi Hendrix, not like
Yeah.
the gin.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even if it's not a reference, like spelling Hendrix with an X and that's your name has a way different vibe than if you spell it with a CK. Like all of a sudden you're like someone whose family came from England and you make
Yeah,
a fortune off like
that's an old
lobster
money
or
name,
something.
Hendrix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hendrix is like you drink gin. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So yeah.
With an X, you're a rock star. So
Yeah.
definitely go with
You're
that
cool.
one.
Awesome. Yeah, we should another off-season idea. We go through all of the names in the NBA that are the same but are spelled different, and we analyze what the different spellings mean. I've been quoted many times to have broken down the Haleys.
Mm-hmm. And the Jordans.
So, and the Jordans, yes. So there's not an alternate way to spell Josh.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That would be very creative. That would
Or
just
Harry. Well, no, not as a name.
H-A-I.
Can you imagine
As
if
an
someone's
insult.
name? Can you imagine? That would be awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really bad.
No, yeah, I hope no one does that.
Yeah.
That would be a fun
terrible.
idea. Because that was the same thing didn't that happen in the draft? 2 people with the exact same names were traded to the same team. Jaden Williams.
Before you even said it, I was like, it's either a Jaylen or a Jaden because that's
There's
everyone's name.
A lot of coverage of the number of Jaylens and Jadens in the league right now.
Yes. There's a lot. Yeah, everyone's parents were going through the same exact phase.
Yes, it's like the whole generation.
They were like, we'd love for this kid to be an athlete. I can envision the haircut the mom has. Yeah, we know exactly what that experience was. I'm trying to think about other names of like maybe non-younger people that are similar. There's some Chris's. There's some Chris variation. There's the K Chris's and the C Chris.
Chris Middleton is he KHRIS?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole.
Oh, and then there's
that's a whole
Chris
different
Dunn. No H, still a K. Yeah.
ballgame.
Tough because I don't really know any Chris's who aren't spelled with the traditional CH way. So I can't. I mean, I could like. Sorry, it's my birth control.
That
My birth
song?
control alarm.
Yeah, that.
Which I guess is a great place to end the show. For legal reasons, I am not in Kentucky right now. I'm just kidding. I am.
Oh, man.
Should we end the show?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on, Josh. This was
Thank you so much for
awesome.
having me. This was really a pleasure, and I appreciate your letting me ramble. And I hope a couple listeners check out the special People Pleaser on VOD now.
Yes.
Yes, you
Go
absolutely
watch
should.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And shout out to our producer, Harry Krinsky and Sierra Smith.